and welcome back to Mindful Model Maker. I just want to give you a bit more of an update of the diesel depot by Scale Scenes that we're making. I've done some modifications because this is going to be a part of something that I put into an exhibition, and I wanted to put the broken window in. Whereas if I carried on with the normal model, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So what I've done, this is the wall that you're going to see. What I did was the original window panels, which is on here, on this piece here, you can see. I've actually put some kind of cellulose in front to give it a kind of a shine so it looks like glass when you look through. Now what I did, I cut out the panels and I measured the actual glass that I wanted. I used the little tiny slips that you have on a microscope, the little square slips that when you put something on the microscope, you put the slip over the top to hold it in. I glue them on with super glue, let them dry, and then I tap them. I have this device here, it's like a balling tool which I use for scoring lines, all sorts of things. I think it's something to do with flower arranging, making flowers in kind of sugar paste for cake decorators. That's a tool that I had for that years ago. But it does come in handy for just banging down on the glass because it is real glass, very thin. And of course you can get these broken window effects, which is what I want, because the theme of this year's models that they want for Christmas is dereliction. So I've obviously got to make this look like a very old, disused railway diesel depot. So that's what I'm aiming for. I picked a couple of bits with the graffiti on. So I've now got the broken windows. They do look different, but of course this is going to be on the opposite side like so. So you'll kind of look through at that. So that's kind of what you'll see through there. What I'm doing at the moment now is making up some of the internal bits. There's hundreds of signs that you get. I've got some lockers that I've just put in, and this is some kind of a charging unit, probably for batteries or something like that. These are tool chests. What there is, you just get the bits of card, the paper, glue them onto two thicknesses of card, then glue that together, and then you can cut out on this piece of paper here, which is very difficult to pick up. You get the surround, so you cut that out, put a little bit of glue on, and then go around like so. So you actually get, if you look at the side of that like so, you can see the yellow down the side. So on that back wall there will be various toolboxes, signs and various other bits and pieces. So I'm just building up some of that. Now the next part I'm going to do, because once I've done this I'm going to stop, because this yellow board that I've got here, this plastic board, is what I'm going to mount this on. But inside there is two pits, so the two roads that go along will have pits built. So I'm going to build the pits next. So what I did the night before last, and you have to do this quite a bit in advance, is to set all the pieces on a piece of card, glue them on. Now I found something that people were recommending to me, to use the cheap Pritt sticks. Well, what tends to happen with Pritt stick, you can glue it on, goes down okay, but when you cut, it doesn't seem to stick that well, and as you drag the knife through, it drags the paper off. So what I do is I use a very cheap craft PVA glue, which comes from Hobbycraft. I mean, you can get it in various cheap shops. I water it down a little bit, get a brush, and I brush it on. And then I roller it out. To get it flat, I use a roller, like so, and just roll it. And then I always leave it 24 hours. And then that is on. And then when you cut that out, that paper stays, it doesn't move. But every time I've used the cheap Pritt stick, it doesn't work. it starts coming off the board. So I don't know if other people have found that, or whether it's just because it's a cheap one, but someone said, oh, just buy them, you can get 4 for £1 or something, but they just don't. But you get what you pay for. So the PVA glue, even though that is a cheap one, does seem to stick and do the job. So that's what I've found. And if that's the case, then you're better off using a PVA. So these make up, that will be the bottom, like the floor of the pit. These will be the top bits where the rail goes, and then you've got these side bits. You get an option of cutting them out and putting little LED lights in if you want it lit up. Well, this won't be lit up for obvious reasons because it's a derelict shed, so nothing's going to be lit up. So I'm stopping the actual main building for the moment because I've got to make these pits, and because I've made double, I've got to print 2 of everything, so there'll be another length on top of that to get the thing. So that's what you get for one half of the shed, and then the other for the other half of the shed. So that's where we are, really. You look at the instructions and you're a little bit kind of dazzled by it to start with. You think, oh, I don't know, but then when you look at it, it does start to build up. So the best thing to do is not worry too much. Cut out the parts, get them mounted on a board, get them set, leave them 24 hours, and then the next day start to cut them up. A lot of the things, it's got instructions written on there, and if it's for different scales, then it will tell you where to cut. So you get things like a gauge, so that's for 00, the red one on there. You cut that, make that, and when you're setting the track on various bits and pieces, you can use that as a gauge in order to get the widths right. So there are lots of little instructions added on. But instead of reading it for hours and hours and hours before you start, I find it's best to get going, and then once you start running, you can actually see how it goes. It does unfold. So it's a little bit daunting to start with, especially if you haven't done this. I've done card kits, but a kit is a whole different game of fish. This is a dozen sheets of A4 paper printed, and you mount it yourself on card of varying thicknesses depending on what. It does tell you whether it's a thick card or a thin card or whatever. So it's all there. So it's beginning to look good. I think that looks quite nice with those bits, the tool chests. I'll make them up later and I'll stick them on. And then I'll start cutting these parts out. Then I can start, once I started building the pit, I will show you. And then you need to cut the plastic baseboard out to put the pits in. And then I'll have to build it up a little bit. And then start putting the other bits of walkway in, and then once I've done that, I can go back to building the actual structure, because once the pits are in, I can then fix the main structure to the ground, put in all the added detail, and then start building up, and then putting the roof on last, and then start to put some of the stuff around the outside. I've got lots of various bits and pieces that I've ordered online to go around. I've got a static grass, I don't know what you call it, machine tool, whatever, which you can put the glue on and then do the static grass and build it up, and then start putting some rust in and various other bits and pieces. So I'll start building up the dereliction of the building as I go. But so the next thing is make the 2 pits that I need, one either side, and cut them into the base where they need to go. And then from that, then I can put the building back on, build the wall that's going round like an L shape across the back of the building and down the one side, this side, which I'm only doing the internal part of. So it's just to save a little bit of time, because I haven't got much time left in order to get this built. So anyway, that's where we are on that. So I'll come back in the next day or two and show you the progress once I've got these bits cut out and I've started to put together, and you can see roughly what we're up to next. Anyway, hope that's been helpful. If you like the channel, please subscribe, click the bell and all the rest of it, and then you can keep up to date with all the various bits that are going on with the channel itself and the progress that we're making, different bits and pieces. If you've got any comments, please put the comments on. I will reply to them. So Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye now.